Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we're going to talk about who's right, who's wrong. In my current Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game, I run an Omni DM game. Every single participant is both a Dungeon Master and a player, and one Dungeon Master runs, and then the next Dungeon Master picks up. And each Dungeon Master is literally picking up the session where the last Dungeon Master left off. It's challenging. It's a challenging game. So we have multiple Dungeon Masters. So I'm one of the Dungeon Masters, and one of the other Dungeon Masters is a gentleman by the name of Lucas. And Lucas has a disagreement with me. And today, you're going to decide, am I right, J. Scott Garibay, or is he right, Lucas? All right. So what's the dispute? Okay. So we are currently 9th, very close to 10th level, okay? And what's been happening in the game is the following. Each Dungeon Master is running an adventure, and then at the end of the adventure, treasure is being given out. And one of the things that I set this into place, and then all the other Dungeon Masters are starting to follow this, except Lucas, right? And what I'll say is, hey, you guys find 500, so we run 2-hour sessions, and we spend, 1 hour and 45 minutes, completing the adventure. And at the end, I'm like, hey, you get 500 gold pieces, and you get 1 potion, and each one of you finds 1 rare magic item. And I don't even name it. And then the session ends, and all the players have until the next game to choose what rare item they found, right? Now, this is not great from a story perspective in that, you're like, well, why would there be just exactly the magic items that these players need in this bandits trove, right? But from a game perspective, in that, the player characters are, and they're like, well, what are we allowed to pick? Anything in a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition book that has the red ampersand on the cover and was actually published by Wizards of the Coast. And if you have some other book that came out from Kobold Press, you can go kick rocks. Only official Dungeons & Dragons books, but every single 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons book is allowed. And you can get a magic item from any of them, right? So what ends up happening is we go away from the table and everybody digs into the books, and they spend the whole week discovering what magic item they need next, and it gives everybody a reason to explore the books while the game isn't running. I love it, right? Well, Lucas says, you know what, Scott, you're just a Monty Hall DM. He said it nicer than that, but not much. And I, just to be clear, he's in my game. It's at my house, and I welcome him as a DM and as a player. I respect him as a person. He's just fundamentally wrong. Or you're going to tell me if he's fundamentally right. Let's get to it. He said, Scott, you're a Monty Hall DM, and I don't like all these magic items kicking around. And he's right. There's a lot of magic items kicking around. Far more than we can attune, right? So he says, Scott, you need to stop giving out all these magic items so the game's more in control, right? And I'm like, thank you for your opinion, Lucas, but you're wrong. Here's the real deal, okay? Well, the problem is, if you having trouble with these players, son, you ain't cracking the monster manual. You rolling out kobolds and goblins, you need to be getting into Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. If you having trouble handling the player characters, that ain't my problem. You need to crack the books, get into the monster manual, and bring something dangerous. Bring something with tooth and claw, baby. You wrong, right? And if you don't like all these magical items kicking around, because the player characters are too powerful, you ain't seeing where we're going. I'm setting up a fortress, and I want my character to have tons and tons of magic items, because I'm going to trade them for followers, buildings, guild affiliations. I got goals, baby. I'm building for the future. I need these magic items to get me the juice I need to take my character to a super dope crystal fortress, right? So small heart, small vision, you wrong. We need these magic items. We need these magic items, Lucas, because we're, all of us are going to have our own personal fortresses, or, we're going to, go for the throne. We're going to need to assemble armies, or I'm going to need to buy a saddle for the dragon I'm going to ride, right? So if you don't see the purpose of these magic items, you just don't understand the future of your character. We 9th level, man. I'm ready to get a fortress, get a kingdom, get a dragon. Let's do it. Let's be about it. I need these magic items. Lucas goes, nah. This ain't what the game about. It ain't about just like piling up a bunch of gold. It ain't about piling up a stack of magic items, right? It's about the interactions between our player characters and the other player characters. And I want some fear in your character's eyes, right? So Lucas is like, I want you guys to be afraid of something. And right now, these player characters, because they're dripping with magic items, ain't afraid of nothing, right? I play Call of Cthulhu. Lucas does play Call of Cthulhu. He actually Dungeon Masters Call of Cthulhu. And he's like, where's the fear? Where's the, like, I want you guys shook, right? And he's like, and there's just too many magic items, and it's getting too much, right? And we need to scale this back. We need to make this story simpler. We need to make this story about the characters, not about the magic items and what they're, and what they're getting next. This ain't about a materialism. This is about the material plane and the stories we tell on it, right? Lucas, wrong. I'm right. That's a fact, in my opinion. However, I do understand. I struggle with pride. A few people have pointed this out in my comics. They're 100% right. I do struggle with pride. It is a J. Scott Garibay deficiency, right? I have a very high opinion of myself, right? And but I'm also an evangelical Christian, and we're not supposed to do that. The flip side, I'm also commanded as an evangelical Christian to like be on point for my family, right? And one of the things about just being on point and keeping the ball rolling and making sure that everybody's got what they need is you got to have confidence. And it's hard to, and I'm a little hesitant to shed my pride because I think it might be bound up a little bit with my confidence and my abilities and my capability, right, to do for me and mine, right? So, but I'm going to listen. Who's right? Is Lucas right or am I right? Okay. Is Lucas right that we should be focusing more on the exploration and the interaction parts and less on the materialism of what we're getting? Or am I right? And that we're getting to 9th, 10th level, and every single one of us should be thinking about armies, overthrowing kings, getting a dragon to ride, and getting our own fortresses. And if we're going to do that, we need the juice. We need that do-re-mi that's going to come from sold magic items. Who's right? Who's wrong? Let me know in the comments below. Is it me, J. Scott Garibay, who's right? Or is it Lucas who's right? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.